today we're looking at this 2016 Alfa Romeo 4C. It's got approximately 45,000 kilometers on it. And as you can see, it's got this beautiful stealth paint protection film on it. It's gloss black underneath, original paint, no issues there. A few different things to look at. It's got the beautiful carbon insert headlights that say 4C on them, HID bulbs in there. And we've got the carbon fiber mirror caps there to nicely accent the carbon fiber tub that we'll look at later. And in addition to this is the quadrifolio emblems that have been added to both sides of the car. Around to the back of this beautiful 4C, we've got some really nice touches back here. Small carbon fiber deck lid spoiler there, just to kind of top things off a little bit on top of that matte wrap. And we've got these fantastic looking taillights. Gives it that nice exquisite look, like it's almost a Ferrari, but they're actually from an Alfa Romeo Mito. And we've got a little addition here with the reverse camera. Definitely need that in a car that you can barely see out the back of. And this car also does have an upgraded exhaust and intake, which you can definitely hear in some of our driving videos. Under the hood, it's a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. From factory, it was 237 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. Yes, I can read brochures, and but this one has been modified. Like I mentioned, with the exhaust and the intake, it is pushing out approximately 312 horsepower. And we're not quite sure on the torque output, but we're probably looking higher threes, mid to high threes. Something that's interesting about the 4C, unlike many of its competitors, there is actually no front trunk space. So this panel here is completely fixed. You have to remove it to access anything underneath, which means, like I mentioned, no trunk space, nothing under there, not enough space to do anything with. So Alfa Romeo just left it.
Okay, and we're inside the 4C now. Just gonna have a look at a few of the really quirky bits that are in here. This is a really unique vehicle, more so beyond what it just looks like. So one of the functionality things, you'll notice the seats are fairly fixed in their positions because there's not much room behind me. So if I try to pull up on the lever to move back and adjust my, there's nowhere to go. So it is a little bit, you're sitting very vertical, which is actually nice as far as steering position goes, where your hands kind of sit on the steering wheel. It is adjustable steering as well, like as far as the wheel can move up and down like a normal car, in and out, fully telescopic. But just because of the seating position, it does feel very natural. It takes a little getting used to. Window switches and everything are down in the center console. The door cards are completely flat. There's nothing really on them, nothing to really talk about. And I'm not really sure what the purpose is around that and just having everything in the center console, but it does make it fairly convenient. Paddle shift, it is a dual clutch, 6-speed dual clutch, semi-automatic transmission, if you want to call it that. Very, very grabby clutch engagement in first gear, and but very, very smooth throughout all the rest of the gears, and you'll see in some of the driving videos that we do. So a couple other interesting features. I'm just going to go back to the seats real quick. Forgot a point. These seats don't have height adjustments. They do, but it's a little bit unique. You actually have to unbolt them and shim them in order to change the height. There's no physical levers or anything like that to change the height adjustment. They're definitely not motorized. More so, I think, just for the sake of it saving weight, as far as the motors go, for any kind of automatic movement. Yeah, really just interesting there. So if you're a fairly short person, you might have to get your wrenches out in order to change the height. Speaking of the seating position, I'm 6 feet. I fit in here great. It's a small car. It does look small, even on the road. There is plenty of legroom in here, unless you're the passenger. The passenger space is a little bit tighter, more due to the fact that the center console and all of the the equipment on the dash, the heater controls and the radio and everything is very driver centric. So it's pointed this way, and as a result, it sort of cuts in to the passenger footwell space a little bit. Not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. It's still quite comfortable for a passenger, but this is definitely a driver car. In addition to the dash section here, just looking at it, we do have an aftermarket touchscreen here as well. Sony double-din aftermarket touchscreen, which is great compared to the factory unit, which is just a little single din that has a tiny screen on it for the backup camera. So this gives you a much better view of what's behind you, because I can't see anything behind me. This car is a blast in every way, but the one thing, the blind spots are horrific. So you just gotta be a little extra careful. This car is a full carbon tub, which means that the entire inside paneling, all of the frame, everything basically attached to the frame that forms the outer shell and the inner shell of the car, instead of being fiberglass or steel or aluminum or some kind of composite that's generally used for vehicle manufacturing, this is full carbon fiber. So you have all of the rigidity and the strength of steel or aluminum, with the lightness, I guess, of fiberglass. And carbon fiber in general is just an extremely lightweight, very strong material. Speaking of the carbon fiber and all of the weight savings on this vehicle, it weighs only about 2,500 pounds, a little less than that, which is pretty astonishing. So the dash in this vehicle, it kind of reminds me of a video game, more so beyond the paddle shift capability or the paddle shift option of the car. The whole dash display is full LCD screen, so there's no actual analog gauges. We'll show that here. You've got your lights on the side, and then yeah, it's just a completely LCD screen, which is really cool, and it's very engaging looking. You've got your water temp, oil temp, your revs, your tach. It shows speedo, your what gear you're in, and then what drive mode you're in. So there's several different drive modes. Well, a couple of different drive modes in this vehicle. We've got a few different drive modes here. This is the drive mode selector down here in the center console, and you can see how everything is really driver centric. There's not a whole lot facing the passenger in this vehicle. Another quirky thing is that there's no glove box. The storage in this vehicle is pretty limited, beyond the little bit of trunk space, which yes, it does have a trunk. Behind the engine, there's actually a little bit of storage space there, but that's about it. And as Jeff mentioned earlier, the front section is bolted down. All of the coolant piping and some of the AC pieces in that are up front, but otherwise they for whatever reason decided that storage there was not going to be an option. So you have your different drive modes here: reverse, neutral, and then the AM is to switch between automatic and manual mode. Naturally, it's in automatic mode. It's in regular, normal auto mode, nothing fancy. But then by pulling on the right gear shift, it puts it into first gear. And you can see how it says that it's an auto there. So now if we come back down over to here and put it, actually we don't even need to change that drive mode. We just press this button to change it into manual. If I give it a press, it switches it on the dash there and puts it into manual. So if you're in first gear and you take it all the way to redline, it will just bounce off the rev limiter. So you do have to shift with the paddles in manual mode. Really, really cool car. That gives you an idea of what the carbon looks like too, just on a side note. So this is that full carbon fiber tub, and literally everywhere you look in here, on both sides, behind me, you can see just even under this little bit, it's all carbon fiber everywhere. So if you're a carbon fiber junkie, this might be the car for you. So that about wraps it up. Thanks for joining us on this one, and hopefully if you guys like this, we'll hopefully keep producing more content like this and keep sharing some of these amazing vehicles with you.